questions, because I do that, and that's a wonderful thing. We like to get a chance to talk to the people, see what anybody has to say. And when we have the questions, make sure you get all the questions out. Because once I start signing books, that's it. No more questions. No, like, well, I meant to ask. I thought about asking. I was going to ask. No, now is the time. Otherwise, that's it. So if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll talk, and then I'll sign the books. And I appreciate you all so much for coming here tonight, and even more for sitting through. She's sleeping, that one there. And I appreciate you guys so much for sitting through and going through all the stuff you have to go through. So thank you so much. Anyway, okay.
Question.
Questions. This guy.
Mr. Walker, did you used to write for Letterman and Leno?
I think it was just the reverse.
Oh, they wrote for you.
Yeah, they wrote for me for many years, 10 years apiece probably, and they both came on to my, I don't even like to call it a staff, they both came to help me be a better comic within the same month or so. So they both came together, and the reason I think that Dave was so mad is because they were really fellow mates, and you know, whatever happened, happened. But I told Dave when I did the show on Monday, why be upset? You both have shows. I'm still just touring a road comic. Shut up. Accept the show and go with it. And you're both making over $20 million a year. Shut up.
Were you ever at Mitzi Shore's place in Los Angeles?
That was my place, the Comedy Store. At first I started here in New York when I got commercially working, and commercially working at the Improv where I started. I always give credit to that, even though Bud Friedman, who was the former owner, doesn't think that. I always say I was there, me, in my class of people who were together with me, David Brenner, who is a guy who just moved back to New York, and he's there now. David Brenner, Bette Midler, Alex Rowe, Steve Lansburg from Barney Miller, Robert Klein, Woody Allen, Liza Minnelli. We were all there at the same time doing whatever we claim that we do. So there was a lot of good people there. We had Ace Trucking, if anybody remembers them, Fred Willard and those guys, and a lot of other good people were there. So the Improv has always been a big haven for comedy. I wish Bud Friedman could hear me so he would know that I'm an improv guy. Because what happened is I went to the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and the Improv became a competitive comedy store, so they forced you to make a choice of which club you were going to work at. And I was already at the Comedy Store, so I decided just to stay at the Comedy Store, and Bud took it very hard, and to this day is not a Jimmie Walker fan, even though I still accept the fact I started at the Improv. That's what happened there. All right, next! All right, that's it. Yes, ma'am.
Do you still keep in touch with the cast? What is your favorite episode that you filmed?
Well, we don't keep in touch that much because we were not one of those close casts. We were not one of those things. Matter of fact, I was telling somebody when I was doing an interview on the way up, we never even really spoke. You know, we were on for 4 or 5 years, and I just been up here, 2 minutes? And I've spoken to you guys more than I've spoken to them. So Bernadette, who played Thelma, is the person who reaches out to people to say, hey everybody, come on. But we just were never friends, and we never really exchanged words. Favorite episodes? I don't know, you know. My thing is memories of just the people that I work with, my writing guys that I work with. Alan Mannings, who unfortunately passed away. Kim Weiskopf, who unfortunately passed away. Sid Darkman, who passed away. But then all my guys who are alive, John Baskin Schulman, great guys. Michael Baser, great guy. All those guys. And then Norman Lear, of course. I said, wow. Norman Lear, the leader of the Master Blast. Norman Lear, a great guy. A guy who had tremendous talent. I learned a lot from him. When I left New York, I thought I knew a lot about working and the process of, you know, trying to get better and listening to tapes and trying to write material and working hard at it. You know, it's a terrible thing to say, and I know people don't like to hear this, but you can work hard and still not get there. You know, it can happen. A lot of people work hard and still don't make it. I work with a lot of guys who are very, very good that just never got there, and it has nothing to do with they're trying or whatever. It just didn't work out. You need a little luck. You need little breaks here and there, and they never got it. So it was just, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. And so we had a lot of people that were very good that never ever got there. The best comic we ever worked with was a guy named Marvin Braverman, who did Johnny Carson twice, and the first time he did Johnny Carson, he totally destroyed. I mean, just bricks came out the wall. It was unbelievable. And David Brenner had a thing he used to say. This is in the old days, not now. He says, when you do television, what's going to happen is you're going to start doing more shots. You have to have more material. So you don't want to be caught short. You always want to have a lot of material ready to roll before you can go on. Well, Marvin only had really one killer piece, and this shows you how far back it goes. It goes back to the astronauts, and the astronauts were a big deal at that time. He had a great astronaut thing, a lot of voices, a lot of things, and he did the Carson show, and it was just destruction, kill. And they said, "You're so great, why don't you come back next week?" And he came back next week, and we sat in the Camelot trying to figure out the next shot, and he had nothing. And we went there. Oh, I remember it like it's yesterday. We went up to 49th Rock Center. We went up there, and we did the show, and we were sitting there watching, and it was so bad you could hear the air conditioner blow. It was not good. And the week of after he did the shot, every agency wanted to sign him. They wanted to put him, the networks came by to sign him, the whole deal. And what happened was, after that shot, everybody said, you know, wait a minute, I don't think so, thanks for coming. And he really kind of lost mental reality for a while. And he was out of it for like a year and a half. Then he went to the left coast with us and signed on with Gary Marshall. And he's like Gary Marshall's right-hand man, but never creative again like he was before. So these things happen, you know, it's just, what can you do? Anyway, anything else? Yes, sir.
Was there anything you ever turned down that you regret turning down? That would have
Never. Nobody ever offered. Nobody ever offered. No. I did have one conversation, I have to be honest, about with Larry Gelbart. And I don't think it was ever a solid thing. I think he wanted to go in a strange direction. And now that you look at it now, many hundreds of years later, it would have been an interesting thing. I was never offered it, so we can't say I got. But he had me in his mind for the movie with George Burns called Oh God, and he thought of me briefly for the John Denver part, and it would have been interesting. I don't know. But it didn't, whatever, it didn't come to fruition, so let's anyway, anything else before we go? This guy back here looks like a priest.
No, not really. I grew up with good times. It was a big part of my life. I was always wondering, who did the artwork?
The artwork was done by a guy named Ernie Barnes, great painter. For all you guys, because I would imagine a lot of Giant fans here, and et cetera, et cetera. Ernie played football for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kansas City Chargers. And all during the time he was playing, he would be doing artwork in the locker room, all that kind of stuff like that. And he eventually, there's a Marvin Gaye cover, which is a portrait thing. He did that. He also became portrait artist for the Kennedys, and also was the portrait artist for the Olympics of like 1972 or whatever, something like that. So he did that. So he was pretty whatever. Unfortunately, last year or 2 years ago, Ernie died. And the interesting thing about Ernie, I would always say to Ernie, "Hey man," because he'd come through walking the set, he have all his stuff. I say, "Hey Ernie, let me get a lithograph, man. You know, put it up, you know, hang it up." He says, "Can't give you one, man." He says, "You know, they're very expensive now. I can't do it." said, Ernie, I'm holding your paintings up every week, man. I never forget that. I said, doggone it, heck, darn it, come on, Ernie. So that was that. That's Ernie Barnes. That's the
You
guy
never
that
got
got
one of his
paintings.
paintings?
Great artist, great artist. Anything else
You
before
never
we?
got one of those paintings?
Never. I got nothing. I got buckets. I got nothing. Anything else before we sit down and actually sign the books? My man, the guy from Goodfellas. Go ahead.
Who would like to work with Janet?
Janet Jackson. Again, you got to keep in mind when you do a movie or a television show, because of the Jackie Coogan rule. Jackie Coogan was an actor from the old days he felt this whatever was abused by his mom, this and that and this. What happened was they made a lot of rules for kids, and the kids are not allowed to be on the set that often. They have to go to school, they have to have a recreation break, they have to deal with guardians, they have to deal with the state workers who come to make sure they're mentally solid to go. And you'll find out that most kids, you guys have heard the horror stories of it, but most kids turn out well because they first of all are tutored one-on-one. They are psychiatrically tested all the time to make sure they're happy. You have to have a guardian or whatever on the set at all times. You have to have a social worker on the set at all times. You have to have a teacher on the set at all times. So kids who are in shows, they really don't hang out with you. So when it comes to Janet Jackson, I didn't know Janet Jackson. She was 9 years old, didn't know her, never spoke to her. I know what you guys know. I know nothing about Janet Jackson. Anything else before? Yes, sir.
So were you offered any TV
No.
on anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nobody ever offered me a thing. I mean, it was like that. You just.
So besides stand-up comedy, that was your only
That was it.
show?
That was it. No one offered me. I did 2 shows after that. One was a thing called Bad Cats, and the story of that show was Starsky and Hutch, which we all remember, was a top 10 show. The 2 guys, David Soul and Glazier, who were on the show. The second or third year, maybe the 4th year of the show, they were getting tons of mail and people loved them, and they were supposed to be the good-looking guys and the thing like that. So whatever they were making, but they said, you know what? We should be making more. We're pretty rolling, man. So Aaron Spelling, who I love, Aaron Spelling, he was totally different than Norman Lynn. Norman Lynn was a creative guy. He wanted to do the best work. He was always trying to do good stuff. Aaron Spelling was totally business. How much money can we make on this? How can we sell this? What do we sell? Do we have any other merchandise that's available? Can we get, instead of 13, can we get 15 shows? Can we get paid another $1? Can we go this way? Can we go? So anyway, he in his office he has 3 secretaries. Norman had 1. He had 3 secretaries, and he has 3 lead doors before you can get into SEALs. And he has a troop of bodyguards. That was Aaron Spelling. And so they go in to see him, Glazier and David Soul, and say, hey, I call him the pipe, because he always had a pipe. You always see him. And it was almost like the president was coming, because you'd be working on the set, doing something, and you'll hear, hey, Aaron is about 5 minutes ETA, man, so get ready. And then you hear, Aaron is about a minute and a half away, he'll be here. And his first guy would come through, E. Duke Vincent. And this is a guy that people think Hollywood is about, that type of guy. Chains, tan, glasses, hey baby, what's happening, booby, what's going on? And E. Duke Vincent was that guy. And then right after E. Duke Vincent would come Aaron Spelling, the pipe. Hello everybody, how's it going? Never any comments about the script or what's going on. He said, talk to the network, they love it, man. I'll see you guys later. And then everybody, okay, move out, let's go. That's it. So, and I love the guy, he's great. But anyway, so they went in to talk to the pipe about getting a raise. And they say, hey pipe, look man, look at we got the mail here, we got big time, we look at Tiger Beat, King Beat, man, we're on the cover, we're rocking. We need some more money, man. This got to happen. We got great Q ratings, come on. And the pipe says, well, you know, I've been thinking about you guys, and you know, you guys are right. You deserve more money. Let me talk it over with the network, and we'll get it together. So they leave and they go down to the parking lot and they go, yeah, we told him. That's right. So they're driving home, and the pipe gets on the phone. Tony Galopoulos was the head of ABC at the time, and he says, the pipe says to Tony Galopoulos, I am canceling Starsky and Hutch. There's been some problems, and I'm going to bring you another show. So just let me get that together, and I will have a new show for you within the next 2 weeks. So Glazier and Soul go home and they tell their wives and girlfriends and significant others, we're going to get a raise. It's going to be unbelievable. We told him this and that. And they turn on the TV. They're all happy. You know, hey, yeah. Oh, and a surprising move today. Aaron Spelling has canceled Starsky and Hutch. And they're like, what? And he pulled it, and they were gone. So then they decided to do another show, and the other show was called Bad Cats, and they hired 2 guys that looked like Starsky and Hutch, looked just like them, and they hired me to play the Huggy Bear role, and I loved it. It was one of my best jobs I ever had, and we had a little girl, Ginger, who played like a clerk in the detective office or something like that. And it was her second role on TV. And that was Michelle Pfeiffer. And she was 19 years old. And we'd be at lunch and she'd say, I can't believe I'm on the show, man. This is great. Oh boy. I can get a house in Malibu and everything. It's going to be great. You remember that? And then you look at him and you just say, let me move over here. And then, of course, after we got canceled after 6 shows, thank you, she went on to do Grease, whatever. And then now it's funny because when I see her now, she's so calm and peaceful and like, hi, how are you? How's it going? And then she was just this little blonde like that. Look at this show, great. So that was that. So yeah, Aaron Spelling was the guy. He was a great guy. I love working with him and the whole deal like that. So that was the only thing I was really offered. Nobody ever offered me. I don't get any calls. I don't get any nobody.
Did you write a book?
What can I tell you?
Did you write a book?
But, well, I'll tell you about the book. You want to know about the book? People say, well, why you write the book? Well, I wrote this book 30 years ago, okay? And I've been upgrading, whatever the book, trying to sell the book. He knows about the book stuff. Very, very tough to sell a book. So when I first wrote the book, I wrote it by myself. And it was a hardcore autobiography. I loved it. So I was sending it around to publishers trying to get something done. No dice. Everybody said, you need help, man. You need somebody to help you with this book. So my friend Marty Nadler, great writer, produced Mork and Mindy, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. He says, I'll help you with the book. So me and Marty started writing. We're friends. We were very good friends. So after a year of banging around doing this, Marty says, you know what? We've been on this for a year, man. We haven't made any money. I'm out. And I said, oh, Marty, you don't stick with me. He said, nah, I can't. So, all right, I got another guy. We did it for like 6 months. He says, man, we got turned down so many times. I'm done. So then I got a guy out of Chicago, and he was all gung-ho. He flew to, Vegas, the whole deal like that. And we're writing, we were doing it. And we worked on it for like a year and a half. And nothing happened. And he says, I can't keep flying back and forth with no money. So then my friend Craig Glazier, who runs a club in Kansas City, he sold a book called The King of Sting, okay? And I'm talking to Craig Glazier because they're thinking about making this as a movie. It's never going to happen. I'm sorry, Craig. I thought it was going to happen, but now it's not going to happen. And Clint Eastwood was interested in it, but a lot of doo-doo goes on, and you just never get there. But anyway, so I was telling him as I was in the club, I was saying, man, it's rough. We've been out here for like 8 years, 27 years. Cannot sell this thing. He said, you should go see Sal, man. My guy who wrote, my book, help you out. So Sal took a look at it, and what happened is when I wrote the book, this is what actually happened. Because I never really talked to the cast members and stuff like that, I didn't have that much to say about the show. So Sal says, you know what, I'm going to go back on the internet and I'm going to recreate the whole thing and make 2 chapters about it. And he put 2 chapters about the show. He wrote a little bit of a, I don't want to say bogus outline, but maybe a fabricated outline. And we sent it out to like 20 people. And then my guy, who is Adam, he didn't want to make the drive. He lives in the city. Adam was taking it around, and we've already been rejected like 75 times. So like 23 times more turned down. And he called me one day and says, you know, I'm really shocked that we can't get this done. This is amazing. He says, I only got 2 guys left, man. He says, I'm going to do that in the next month, and if it doesn't happen, you know, I don't know if I can help you. So I said, okay, take a shot. So 3 weeks later, I'm looking at my phone and I see his number come up, and I go, oh God, we didn't sell it. And Adam, I call him back and I say, all right, man. Well, you know, thanks for trying. You know, that's all you can do is try. You know. And he says, well, no more trying. He says, we sold it. And I wasn't even like paying attention. I went, but, you know, next time we'll try another one. And he says, no, we sold it. And I was like, really? and he says, you know, it was our next to last people, the Capital Press. He says they really don't do this kind of book, but those people up there kind of like you. And they took a look at it and they figured with a little restructuring, let's go for it. And we did that, and that's what it turned into memoirish, but nevertheless, the book got done, and now it's out here, and we'll see what the devil happens with it.